So, brothers and sisters, one of the greatest moments of a Muslim's life is the first sight of the Kaaba. No matter how many photos and videos you've seen, no matter how you've heard it described, there's nothing like seeing it for the first time. I want to ask Sheikh about that experience, how a person should prepare emotionally, mentally, physically perhaps, for that first sight and what they should do. But let's start with, Sheikh, what are the fada'il, the virtues associated with the first sight of the Kaaba? There's something unique to it, isn't there?
So, ulama have mentioned glancing at the Kaaba is an act of worship in and of itself. That's a virtue already. The longer your eyes are at the Kaaba, the more reward you are attaining. Salaf rahimahumullah, and more specifically Umar radiyallahu anhu, it was narrated that as soon as he saw the Kaaba, he made a dhikr, a dua, and he said, Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam fahayyina rabbana bis-salam. He said, Oh Allah, you are the peace, and every peace comes from you. Meaning every peace you've seen on earth all came from Allah Azza wa Jal. And then we finally say, Our Lord, greet us, welcome us with peace. Subhanallah, this here teaches us that when we see the Kaaba, it reminds us of the believers seeing Allah in the paradise on the Day of Judgment. Because, Subhanallah, this Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam fahayyina rabbana bis-salam is the exact response we will say to Allah when He greets us saying, Assalamu alaikum ahl al-jannah. And then imagine this, you're looking at a Kaaba and you're remembering a name from the names of Allah. So that means it's only reminding of Allah, the Lord of this house. So that's the first thing. You want to reflect and you want to remember and ask Allah Azza wa Jal to grant you the paradise and ultimately grant you the greatest gift in it, and that is to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So imagine, how is that moment going to be in the paradise? You're having a rehearsal of that in this worldly life.
So what should a person do then? I mean, let's say I'm a first-time Haji or Mu'tamir, have never been to the house of Allah. I've heard that it's incredible. It's going to be a unique experience. What would you give of advice to people coming for the first time?
Excellent. So after we've said this dhikr, it was narrated that Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu mentioned, at that moment a person may raise his hand and make a dua. So after you've said the dhikr, you raise your hand and you make a dua. And subhanallah, I think probably one of the best and greatest dua at that moment, and you can do whatever dua you want. And it was authentically narrated that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam would make this dua, not at this moment but anywhere else. He'd say, Allahumma inni as'aluka ladhata an-nazari ilayk wa-shawqa ila liqa'ik fi ghayri dharra'a mudirra wa la fitnatin mudilla. He would say, Allah Azza wa Jal, grant me the sweetness at glancing at you, seeing you, and grant me the longing for you. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said this dua combined between the greatest things in this life and in the afterlife. The best thing in this life being strengthening and developing a sense of longing for Allah Azza wa Jal. And the greatest thing in the afterlife is to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What a beautiful dua at a moment when you are standing before the Kaaba that is reminding you of the meeting with Allah Azza wa Jal in the paradise.
There's one thing that gets said, and I want to ask you if it is authentic or if it's something that's been verified, which is the idea that the first dua on the first side of the Kaaba is accepted. It is maqbool. Is there any truth to that, or is it something that does the rounds?
So, in general, the believer's dua, when it is sincere, when the heart is present, when the heart is honest with Allah Azza wa Jal, and it is a moment between a person and Allah Azza wa Jal, of course, the dua, its chances increase in its acceptance. When you have your hands raised, that further adds to the opportunity of a dua being accepted. When you are in a holy land, it further adds the opportunity. When you are in ihram, about to begin your tawaf, you're in a state of worship, further adds to the potential of the dua being accepted, and so on. But most importantly, heart. When it's present, and the presence of the heart means two things. Number one, it means that you believe and you are certain that Allah will listen to your dua and answer your dua. And number two, for a heart to be present, you make a dua, you understand. So many people pull out these books and read things, they got no clue what they are. That is a heart that is heedless, it's not present. Present, two things. Certain that Allah heard and He answers. And number two, that I make a dua, I am understanding what I'm saying.